This is Jefferson Hendricks of Centenary College of Louisiana and the Robinson Film Center, along with Alyssa Fife, president of the Centenary Film Society, and we'd like to welcome you today to Film 101. This week's film, Snowpiercer, which Alyssa really wanted us to talk about, and I'm very excited to talk about, is a film that I think is highly relevant in many ways to the situation we all find ourselves in.
The planet is overheating, which is another reason I think it's a very relevant film. It talks about a lot of different issues. But anyways, we release this chemical onto the planet that's intended to cool down the temperatures, and we end up freezing the entire Earth.
And what was that?
Old world people were frigging morons who got turned into popsicles.
This train is hurtling around the universe. It is run at the head by a kind of intellectual entrepreneur who's created this train, and this is the saving remnant of civilization. The couple of thousand people, or however how many are on this train, are the very last people alive on Earth.
It has a very good balance for entertainment and also for a thought-provoking nature. It has a lot of action. It has a lot of emotional connections. But it also makes you think a good deal. And so the director of this, he directs Parasite. I am in love with the movie Parasite. This director seems to have kind of a fixation on the idea of classism. It doesn't really shove it in your face in a way that makes you feel like you're learning something. It's just kind of an entertaining film to watch, and then subtly it makes you think about those concepts.
You're right on target. It is a very thought-provoking film. It's cast in the skin of a genre film. It is a science fiction thriller, action thriller. So if you're up for a kind of summer action film, I think this fits the bill. But it doesn't take too long till you realize he's dealing with some very real ideas. If there was one idea that jumped out as part of his class analysis, or one of the other many ideas that he has, what would that be, and what really struck you about it?
Not just your position that you're born into, but the mindset that you have in that position when it comes to wealth or status or class. That's something that really gets ingrained in you depending on how people are treating you. The way that they teach the children in the film kind of demonstrates how they're enforcing this mindset that you should stay where you belong. But of course, they're only telling this really to the people that are in the lower class sections.
Know your place. Keep your place. Be a shoe.
You're going to have to tell someone in the worst place when everyone else is in the best place. They're going to want you to stay in the bottom. And they teach the children that from a very young age. And I think that's, one, very interesting, but two, also very frightening, because it's a real thing.
It reminds me a lot of Titanic. The upper class passengers are in one place, the lower class passengers are another. They're on this journey. You have all these people caught in this, are placed in this one contained place, and they have to deal with each other. We have Curtis is the lead character, the protagonist, played by Chris Evans of Captain America fame, but looks very, very different here.
Yes.
As one critic has put it, he looks like a version of Edge from U2, with his wool pulled down and his beard kind of scruffy looking. One of my favorite actors of all time, Tilda Swinton, plays a wonderful character. She's the villain in the movie, and she and Curtis go head to head very often.
Yes, so it is.
She's representative, I think, of all of those forces that would keep the world as it is, that doesn't allow change. And I think, for me, that's the center of the film, this tension between those in power who want the world to remain like it is, and those who are not in power, who have less than those in power, who want more.
I thought that was an interesting contradiction that it raised because the villains tend to talk about this concept of balance and maintaining the balance of the train's ecosystem, which is closed.
Individual units must be very closely, precisely controlled in order to maintain the proper sustainable balance.
It becomes very, very evident that nothing is balanced, and those that are in the lower end of the train have not been getting the things that the people in the upper end of the train have been getting to a very, very extreme extent. So, of course, the people that have more are going to claim that they want balance, but really it's to keep everything unfair.
It talks about the sort of economic disparity, and it raises issues that I think, you know, we're all going to have to face after we leave this. But here it's pretty clear that the pandemic we're in right now is more seriously affecting those with with underlying conditions brought on by all sorts of things, primarily perhaps unequal access to health care, education, etc. But it's ultimately a very thought-provoking film about class relations and about morality.
Do you have any idea what went on back there when we boarded? It was chaos.
It's definitely one of those films that if you want to dive into it and analyze it, you definitely can. But it's also one of those films that if you just want to relax and watch an interesting movie, you can do either.
And so here's Snowpiercer from 2013, and we highly recommend it. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Alyssa, stay well, stay safe, and look forward to chatting with you next week.